Cheesecake. Whether it's the slightly more fiddly but ever so creamy baked kind, or the super rich but super light and easy no-bake kind, it's good, and it's especially good during those warmer summer months. Today I want to bring you a very British style cheesecake inspired by a very Italian flavour. We're talking stracciatella, basically grown-up, sophisticated chocolate chip that went on a gap year. We're talking about the lightest, creamiest and simplest no-bake cheesecake with just a smattering of tiny shards of delicious bittersweet dark chocolate punctuating throughout, with a very Italian biscuit base. Let's get into it. Our stracciatella cheesecake begins with a lovely buttery biscuit base in just a regular kind of spring clip or springform tin with a tiny bit of greaseproof paper on the bottom, just to make sure nothing gets stuck and you don't lose any of the base to the tin, because why would the tin deserve that? Now I use these savoiardi biscuits. These are kind of like trifle sponges, but feel free to use any kind of plain sweet biscuit you have, like digestives, rich teas. If you're viewing from America, you can use graham crackers, whatever you like. You can find a relatively sweet plain biscuit or even a chocolatey biscuit, just nothing too kind of rich and heavy. And you're just basically going to want to absolutely destroy them, whether you do it in a kind of plastic freezer bag with a rolling pin or just like I did in one of these little blitzy things until it's complete rubble. Then you're going to want to add just a little bit of melted salted butter ideally, but regular unsalted butter works just fine too. And you're just going to want to mix that up until it's a nice, almost kind of pasty, crumbly stuff, making sure to spoon out as much as you can, either into the tin or just into your mouth. And you want to going to just press that down nice and flat and firm. You don't want your base to be kind of loose and crumbly. You want it to be one kind of whole solid disc, just like this. And then you're going to want to pop that in the fridge just to firm up while you make your cheesecake. For the stracciatella cheesecake itself, you're just going to want to use a blend of cream cheese and mascarpone cheese if you can. It makes just the perfect kind of balance of milky, tangy and creamy all together. And just add a little bit of icing sugar to that. Nothing too kind of sweet and rich, just enough to sweeten it a little bit. And just mix it in until it's nice and incorporated with your two cheeses. Then you're going to want to grab a larger bowl. I apologise in advance for the washing up you'll have to do. And you're just going to want to fill this a little bit with whipping cream or double cream, heavy cream, whatever you like to call it. And with a manual or electric whisk, just get it until the point that it's holding nice, kind of soft, fluffy peaks. Adding this to the cheese mixture both kind of softens and lightens up the flavour, as well as creating that lovely kind of signature white stracciatella colour that cream cheese itself wouldn't quite allow. But before we incorporate those two together, you're going to want to get your chocolate handy. I used an 80% dark chocolate in this recipe. For the best kind of balance of flavours and textures, I would recommend a chocolate over 60%, but I'm not going to tell anyone if you use a kind of creamy or milky chocolate, I promise. And you're just going to want to chop those into pieces as small as you have the patience for. Be very careful, but I would recommend a kind of big, heavy knife for this, and just chop them till the point where they're really, really tiny. The bigger they are, the kind of crunchier they will be, having been sat in the fridge for hours, and that's not always too pleasant on your teeth. Once you have them all kind of chopped up nicely into little shards, just add your cheese mixture into your cream mixture and give it a good old whisk around to incorporate into a lovely, fluffy cheesecake. Then you're just going to want to add all of your lovely chopped chocolate shards. You may not need them all. Feel free to reserve some to decorate the top of the cheesecake or just to have as a little snack or future ice cream, yogurt, porridge or toast topping. They're fantastic on top of toast with banana and peanut butter. And this is what your finished cheesecake mixture should look like. So tidy up perhaps a bit more effectively than I did. Grab your nice firm set cheesecake base from the fridge. It should be perfect after about 30 minutes in total. And then you're just going to want to generously scoop all of that cheesecake mixture on top of the base. Make sure everything's flat and even, and just pop that back into the fridge for at least 3 hours, but it is best overnight. So here I am the next day, opening up from our little tin after about 8 to 10 hours of chilling. And while the edges might look a little bit rough, if you like, you can remove the paper, get it on your serving plate, and then if you have the time and the patience and the willpower, just run a little knife around the edges and maybe on the top before sprinkling on some final pieces of chocolate or some more lovely fluffy whipped cream, slicing up and enjoying on a beautiful hot day. I hope you love this one.